G'day, gang. I wanted to talk today about early access games. This is a topic I know that annoys a lot of people, and this is a topic that excites a lot of people, and again, as always, everything in between. Personally, I really like early access games as a survival game player. It really feels like I get to play a game, wait for an update, replay a game, and then every other update just consistently replaying it. It's how I've really enjoyed V Rising and Valheim, and I think it can be really, really fun. But of course, it requires the game developer to continue making the game. And I think that's the point in which that a lot of people have issues. Very reasonably so. There are a lot of games that just completely get discontinued, and I've definitely been burnt before. So I think for me, the way that I tell if I want to engage with an early access game, if I want to purchase one, is if it is playable at the time of purchase, if I get enough out of it at the time of purchase, then I'll buy it. Everything else is bonus content. I think that's the way that I've always seen early access games, and that's the way that that's why I enjoy them so much. Valheim was one of those games that just kept giving, and it's still giving. It's got more and more updates coming over time, and I've really, really enjoyed it. I think one of the early access games I've enjoyed the most is, as I just referenced, V Rising. Honestly, so freaking good. When you have such fundamentally fantastic core gaming system like the combat system in V Rising, and the bosses feel really mean on the hardest difficulty, but really fair, that's when, for me, that's peak gaming content for me. Everyone has their different metrics and their different expectations of what they want from games, and as I just talked about in games marketing, games are really diverse and very different from each other. They are complicated pieces of tech, and I don't think I can say that enough, and I think that we don't, as gamers, even recognize that enough. But for me, early access games just keep giving. Like I say, there are a lot of early access games that I have played for an absurd amount of hours because I keep coming back with new updates. For me, Minecraft is one of the most notable versions of that, and I think it's the best-selling game of all time for a really good reason, and I think a huge part of that is because of their commitment to early access and updates. There are numerous other reasons I think that game is popular, but let's not get into it. We're talking about early access. I think Terraria was another really cool game that it's another punishing game, especially if you have it on harder difficulties, that definitely makes you work for your achievements and your progress, but I think it's really fun, and I think Terraria actually set the benchmark for a lot of survival games, particularly games like Valheim that have that barrier to new areas, to new progress. You have the classic, okay, let's start a new Terraria game. I'm going to dig straight down, let's make a elevator, and let's go to the underground and progress from there. Very punishing game if you play it in the way in which that you're not supposed to play it, by going to areas that you're not supposed to go to early. Same as Valheim. You start out and you're like, oh, this is a really cool area. I like this yellow grass. What is this plains zone? Bye. But I think those sorts of games are really fun, with each sequential level being a barrier to the next one is really cool, and trying to break into each area like the Terraria model is really cool. And early access, the early access model of having those areas release after the other areas is particularly good. Oh my gosh. Going into the new areas in V Rising and being excited about advanced difficulties in that was awesome. That they didn't I think the way that they did early access was quite different to the usual barrier of entry survival game style. but it was still one of the most fun experiences I have ever had, particularly with the craziness of what you can do with having another person play with you. It was very fun, same as Valheim. Um, oh my gosh, amazing games. Genuinely amazing, and I don't think that they could have been brought to an audience in the same way without early access. Um, yeah, just the commitment to being able to consistently bring out new content because people are playing through the game. And I know that there's a lot of opinions about people saying, I don't want to be a beta tester, and that is completely valid. And I completely agree with that. But I think early access is past beta, personally. In my experience, a lot of the games have been surprisingly bug-free. It's genuinely impressive. Like, I was just playing through Voyages of Nera, and they've had a recent update, and that's been a really unique and cool game. Raft was one of my favorites, talking about water games. Pardon me. Oh my gosh. But talking about yeah, Raft was a really, really good early access game too, because you would get to a new point in the story and then you'd be like, well, I could just build my raft until the next update comes out. And it was really fun to do that. And the option to pick up where you left off or start out from scratch, which is always our preference, is really, really fun. And just go about playing the game from the start again. The amount of hours that I get out of early access is just crazy. It really is. And it gives developers, I think, the opportunity to make games that they wouldn't have been able to make. Back when Steam Greenlight was a thing, The Forest released in little bits and pieces showing really unique means of gameplay that I hadn't previously seen before. And it was really cool. And I think that expanded out, again, my favorite genre, survival, in ways that I don't think that they would have been able to do without having the option of being able to have Steam Greenlight to make the game. And now you even see, just talked about games marketing, forest-like games such as Green Hell that were also early access and very cool and quite distinct from the forest, but still very similar to it. So I think for me, again, early access is a gift that just keeps on giving. It really is. It's a very cool way to do stuff. There are so many horror stories. I feel like there are more horror than success stories in early access, so I understand people get frustrated very easily, especially when what's expected and what's delivered just is not the same. But that's a completely understandable reaction for people to have with content that isn't delivering to them, and it isn't it's just not right for them. But I think ultimately you should see it how I see it. If you want to buy an early access game because what's given at early access is enough for you to enjoy the game, and if nothing else is ever given, you're happy with that, you should buy it. That's the way that I think that people should look at early access. And then games like V Rising, Valheim, Voyages of Nera, like I said, recently played, Sailblazers have recently played, just absolute goofy shenanigan fun, completely different from the other titles. But even Terraria, it was a very, very different game at launch than it is now. If you want to play it at launch, buy it, play it, enjoy it. And if you buy it on Steam and you don't enjoy it in 2 hours, refund it. Wait for it to be out of early access. I think that's a really great way to see early access titles, and I think that, yeah, Steam is awesome with refunds. You have lots of options. Just keep your eye on the clock, make sure you don't go over, and just get out of there if you don't like it. If it's not the game for you, if it doesn't have the systems that work for you, don't play it. And if it's not the game that you want to play at the time, yeah, don't do it. I think that overall the genre, well, not the genre, but the type of the category of release of early access is really unique and cool. And I think that if it ever went away, I think that the gaming industry as a whole would lose out on a lot of content. I'd like to make a similar video on Kickstarter, because I think Kickstarter I think is more of a gamble than early access, but I ultimately think that it has the same risk reward. And without Kickstarter, we wouldn't have had awesome games like Larian's Divinity Original Sin, again, which was just a groundbreaking game in my mind because I hadn't seen any of the games in its genre that has multiplayer. That was just absolutely, I didn't believe that that game was going to come out as it was. I didn't believe, but I still backed it, and I'm glad I did because wow, what a cool series of games. I think that's one of my ultimate favorite games, and favorite game series, and I wouldn't have had that without possibly wouldn't exist without Kickstarter. So that's a really cool other topic. But I think early access in general is just an awesome option that you really don't get in any other genre. Like releasing videos for TV, releasing, oh my gosh, words, please. Releasing TV episodes are just not even remotely the same as releasing a game in an unfinished way. I don't think there's any comparison to early access, and I think it's so unique and extraordinarily cool that it would be a real disappointment if it went away. But how do you all feel about it? Do you absolutely hate it? Are you going about like enjoying early access wrong and it's not working for you? Are you utilizing it and it's still not working for you? Or are you very much a fan like myself? Love to hear what you guys think about this one. This one's a very, very near and dear to my heart because, like I said, ungodly amount of hours I've played on early access titles. Tell me how you feel, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, everyone.